everybody, my name's Steve Schnee, and welcome to We're All Elvis. Essentially, We're All Elvis is me talking about my thoughts on Elvis Presley. I may have a top 10 list of his movie songs or a top 10 list of his Memphis recordings, but basically it's just going to be me sharing my love of Elvis and his music with you. Now, I may not share the same opinions as you, but I hope that you respect mine just as much as I respect yours. I'll be making these shows sporadically over time and sharing my thoughts and feelings about Elvis with you, as well as my collection of Elvis music. I hope that you enjoy this series, because you and me, we're alike, because we're all Elvis. Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie, and welcome to another episode of We're All Elvis. On this episode of We're All Elvis, I'm going to offer you my thoughts on that massive 60 CD set called Elvis Presley, the Album Collection through RCA. This is a massive, wonderful piece of goodness. But let me just offer some thoughts on this, because when this box came out, I've read a lot of things about it, people talking about bonus tracks, people talking about missing albums, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it. I'll just sit here and talk randomly, and I'll edit it up and give you what I think that might be interesting about this box. So let's start by removing the lid so I can show you the contents. There are 60 CDs in this set, and they are all the albums released during Elvis's lifetime, from his debut album up until Moody Blue. And then there are 3 different compilations featuring rare and unreleased and alternate takes. But these are the actual albums, nothing like Elvis in Concert or any of the numerous compilations and stuff that have come since he passed away. This is just the stuff released during his lifetime. That's one thing that I want to mention. And also, I started thinking to myself, well, before I got a hold of this box, I was wondering, are there going to be bonus tracks on this? Because all his other CDs are released with bonus tracks. And I was disappointed to see that there are some CDs with no bonus tracks. But I was happy to see that there are some CDs that have bonus tracks. And without reading the book, I've figured out why. But before I tell you why, I'm going to show you what else you get in this. You also get this great book, and it's filled with pictures and information on each album. Elvis, this is really a great book. As record collectors and CD collectors, we all know that hype stickers are really cool to collect. Well, a lot of these albums, not all of them, but a lot of them had hype stickers that said like the soundtrack to Elvis's new movie, or features a poster inside, that type of hype sticker. They didn't put them on the actual covers. Every CD in here is an exact reprint of the original release, an exact reprint of the actual label. As the RCA labels changed, so will the colors of the discs throughout the box set. The albums that actually did come with hype stickers, they didn't press them on there, but they gave you a sheet where if you want to put the hype sticker on your version of whatever CD it is, you can do it. It tells you which album to put it on, and then you could check online to see where it was placed. Then you could put it on the actual sleeve of these records. I don't plan to do that. I'm planning to keep that separate. Now let me put a spotlight on a few of the discs. The 3 discs that you get as bonus. Over the years, I've collected Elvis albums and Elvis CDs. I've bought, I've sold, I bought, I sold, I bought, I sold. But there's 2 albums in this box set that I've never owned in my collection at all. And that is For LP Fans Only and A Date with Elvis. And the reason that I never bought these was because basically they were titles that were thrown together while he was in the Army, and they consisted of previously released material. So a lot of the things on these CDs were already on various compilations. That's why I never felt the need to get these, but now I actually own them and I can listen to them as they were originally presented. Now let's talk about the bonus tracks. When I was originally going through the box and I was ripping these and adding these to my system, I realized that a lot of them didn't have bonus tracks. So I was thinking, well gosh, is there going to be a lot of stuff missing from Elvis's catalog that I still need to go out and buy on various CDs? Well, the answer to that, to my knowledge, is no. And let me explain that to you. The people who put this box set together really put a lot of thought into it. And it seems to me that every album track and single track that Elvis released on RCA is in this set. For example, like you can buy any of these individually, and they all have bonus tracks from the same period. Well, these versions do not. And the reasoning behind this, and this is probably going to get complicated because I really don't know how to speak proper English, but Elvis released a lot of albums, and he released a lot of non-album singles. Through the first batch of albums, all the non-album singles were essentially compiled on this, and it had a couple album tracks as well. So there are, maybe a few songs on this that are repeated from earlier albums, but generally speaking, most of this is non-album singles, which is fantastic. Now, if there was a non-album B-side from this period, that's what they would stick on as a bonus track on one of the albums. So RCA chose not to put a bonus track on a CD if they were available on these discs. So you had them in one place. They didn't add any bonus tracks to these because any bonus tracks would have just been album tracks that are already contained in the box. Now, is this getting confusing? It might be. Let me put it this way. Every non-album track is accounted for. Either they were compiled on these original albums, or one or two tracks are added to the CDs in this box set. So all the singles are represented. Now, I started thinking to myself, well, what about all those soundtrack EPs? Kid Galahad, Viva Las Vegas, Follow That Dream, Live a Little, Love a Little, Change of Habit, Charo, all of those soundtrack EPs that never found a place on the albums. Well, I went through the box sets and I saw no bonus tracks on most of those soundtracks, and I figured they should have put all of that stuff on those CDs as bonus tracks. But then it occurred to me, you have 4 of the Pickwick Camden albums. All of those stray EP tracks made it onto these albums that were released in the 70s. So what we were buying, RCA mopping up all the non-album tracks and putting them on budget albums. I have to admit, Come On Everybody and I Got Lucky are 2 of my favorite Elvis albums. And they're not really albums, it's just compilations of stray soundtrack recordings that were only released on EPs and not on albums. So that's why they aren't added as bonus tracks, because they were on these albums. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, what about the Pickwick albums, Separate Ways? Elvis Sings Burning Love and hits from his movies, Mahalo from Elvis, things like that. How come they're not in the box? Well, because those particular albums contain stuff that's on all these other CDs. So why duplicate those? I was originally bummed all the Pickwick albums weren't here, but now it makes total sense. What I'm trying to say here is whether it was on a soundtrack EP or a B-side of a single, everything is in this box set. They're just added where they need to be added. These albums contain tracks that are not on any of the other soundtracks, so that's why they're here. The only time that you're ever going to find songs that are duplicated is on the original Gold Records series. I love all these albums. They bring back so many memories when we used to collect Elvis, my brother and I. But I have to admit, my 4 favorite CDs in this set are kind of strange. One of them, a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's my favorite, and that would be From Elvis in Memphis. And this actually does contain 4 bonus tracks, one of which is Suspicious Minds, one of which is Kentucky Rain, because they didn't appear on any compilations released during his lifetime. My other 3 favorites, I know these aren't really legit albums, but ever since I was 14 years old, these are the albums that I've played the most by Elvis. So I'm sure that one day I'm going to go, you know what, that Date with Elvis is one of my favorites. Or I'm going to think like, oh my gosh, Something for Everybody or Potluck. Those are my favorites. But as of right now, my fondest memories live inside these 4 albums. Now, there's so much great stuff in here. This is really a beautiful set. And like I've been trying to say this whole time, to my knowledge, everything he released on RCA is included here. Not every CD has bonus tracks, but they are there spread throughout the 60 CDs. It's just an absolutely magnificent set, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's been thinking of, who's been holding out for a while and saying, I don't know. There's going to be a day when this goes out of print, and this thing is going to be super expensive. So I'd say use your Amazon gift cards that you got for Christmas. Do anything you can to get a hold of this, because really, all the Elvis albums in mini LP sleeves, it's like I'm reliving my youth again. It's like I'm living Land of the Giants. I'm the giant, and I'm going and grabbing my old record collection and going through them. So it's really a lot of fun, a lot of memories. Elvis is my favorite vocalist of all time. I hope that I've made some kind of sense here. Right now, this video is 20 minutes long, and I'm going to edit it down. So when you see it, it's probably going to be about 7 or 8 minutes long, because I just bleep, 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 So anyway, thank you. I appreciate you for allowing me to indulge in this Elvis box set and sort of give my thoughts on it. But I know you're sitting there, you and me, we're alike. We're all Elvis. Well, that's it with this episode of We're All Elvis. I hope you enjoyed it, and please come back next time. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, my name is Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.